Esports. Can they finish the last one?
Oh no, they will not. Stolen away.
A little bit more is all he needs.
Run, Kingen, run! Zika with the solo kill.
Means he's totally unafraid of any sort of a counterattack. Hung now just also continuing to try to chase this. Scout got knocked back over the wall. He misses the absconder ducked, but Void Seeker with his flash blown. It's problems for DK. Beautiful engage coming out from Hung as LNG follows up. DK just collapsed and LNG hit him right in the ribcage.
大家好，我是 LNG 的上单兹卡。能赢下 BLG 的话就很开心嘛。对于在世界赛队伍上的话，都是以一种全新的版本，然后我们就是打任何队伍都是差不多的，主要是看谁成长得更快。就是我们设计的比较好，加上我们5个人本身实力就也挺厉害的。面对 LPL 的队伍的话，就是我们是不太愿意交手的，然后更倾向于交属外赛区的队伍。能赢下他们，我会非常的开心吧，然后也会增加我的信心。
LNG are not the team that usually goes for this, but
Arrow blocked by On. Here we go, the engage, but it's taken by Elk in the end. The re-engage comes through from On as he jumps into the back line, but isolated is Hung. He has to flash away, but Scout brings them together to clap. LNG are taking the fight, and BLG don't know what just hit them.
我觉得就是个人方面的话，我们选手实力都是很强嘛。 但是从团队方面的话，有更多的版本理解啊，就是需要增强。我觉得3个0的话，可能会休息的比较久，然后打的对手也会很少，磨练的机会就会少很多，所以我觉得不一定是好事。面对后面的比赛，我们会变得更强，更有信心冲击决赛吧。
Well, you're halfway there to that 3-0 and that time off. You want Zika, and LNG comes out on top in this first game. He said a lot of interesting things, actually, that we're going to touch on as well in terms of kind of the meta and how it's developing. Also said, rather play a team from another region than from the LPL, Azael, and well, we saw how it worked out for them.
It worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
But it also worked out pretty well against the LPL.
It's true.
Certainly did. I mean, this is a game that was so interesting because it's, when you look at it on paper, this is not at all the preparation, the strategy I expected DK to bring in. And while some parts of it worked out really well for them, when push came to shove, it fell apart pretty damn quick.
What did you not like?
ShowMaker spent the entire year complaining about playing AD champions, how it doesn't fit his playstyle, how it's not what he wanted to do, and then he comes out on stage in his first best of 3 and he plays kind of the only ranged AD champion that has seen success. And I get it, Gen G did it, but it doesn't line up at all with how DK have found success in the past. And not only that, I've read and watched 5 interviews at least where ShowMaker said, I don't want to play this, I don't like it, I adjusted late because I didn't want to play it, because I was hoping that it would get patched out. And here we are, and he's playing it anyway.
It's like you're going on a diet, and you're saying, I'm not eating any more cakes, okay? And then all of a sudden, there's a cake there, and it is so perfect. That's exactly what you want, and it has like
it's like he can.
Toby's having cake over there.
You don't understand. It's like he wants cake. Cake is now available, and he's like, no, guys, I'll stick to salad. It's like, bro, the cake is there.
Smolder is
you
definitely
love
a cake.
No, it's salad. Nobody likes Smolder.
But it's
Smolder
effective.
is a necessity. Smolder is not joy. No one goes, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit there and do less damage than everyone in the game.
It's protein. We gotta abandon this storyline. There was a very important sequence in this game that really, I think, broke the game for Dplus KIA.
Whether or not Smolder was a salad or cake, they were in a pretty good position to win this game. So we can start rolling this clip, and I just want to highlight this is what really kind of broke open the game. Moham actually hits the vision plant. He had full vision on what was going on over here. He sees the Vi. He reacts very late on the retreat. Kingen comes in to try to bail him out, and then again, if we could pause here, highlight aiming. He saw GALA walking over the ward. He decides to come in and actually start harassing him, trying to keep him away from this play. So it's all coming off of this initial play that Moham saw with full vision. Aiming knows that GALA is here. We roll this out. Moham loses his flash, loses his ult. Aiming was not aware of the fact that Zika was coming in from below him. He gets killed. Then bad gets worse as ShowMaker here uses his E to actually chase in towards the brush, knowing that all 5 are there. Like, this to me was crazy. It's a comedy of errors here from DK, where unfortunately they lost their minds a little bit, and everyone comes in and is trying to bail out your opponents or bail out your teammates from that mistake that they made. And this is something that is kind of one of those bad habits where you overcommit to a play. You're like, oh, Shock's made a mistake, so I gotta make up for it. And then Drake is like, oh, well, Isaac made a mistake, so I gotta make up for it. And then they're just like running in there.
So I don't know.
You're right. You're right.
Okay,
You're
okay,
fine.
fair,
I wish
fair,
we could
fair.
say the same about DK because it was frustrating because the entire early game, they were disciplined. They used their pressure. They set up vision before they made plays. And then it all just came crumbling down.
Hey, we had a whole point still about kind of meta reads and melee comps and scaling comps and range and whatnot. So since we couldn't say it, you could just guess what we wanted to say. Back to the casters. You guys should guess, casters.
Don't worry, Shocks, we got y'all
Hint,
downloaded
Smolder's still
right
good.
up here.
Okay,
From
pure
your
talk.
brain to our brain to all y'all's brain out there at home, we got the brain game going on, and we got another game going on right now, and that game is game number 2 here between DK and LNG. LNG came out swinging in this first one, man. I love the Silas pick into the Alistar.
Yeah.
I did not love the way the Olaf turned out on the other side. I did not love the Smolder for ShowMaker. Felt like we wanted to see him on something with a little bit more personal agency. So I'm curious how the draft is going to adapt now in our second game.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing little adaptation, at least coming into these first few bans, but still the Rumble. Well, the Renekton, I suppose, being taken away from Zika this time around, saying, hey, look, we don't want Kingen to have to try and deal with that and go back towards the Olaf, but it's still, I think the change needs to come through how DK approached the early game, because it felt like they just didn't have any sort of push or ability to skirmish, which is where LNG started to take over.
Yeah, I mean, now they're in a spot where they're double banning Zika on the top side here, having to drop a lot of their draft priority into that. And then still, you have to cover Yone. That has just been way too massive here, so no surprises.
It also says that ShowMaker isn't comfortable on this, because you are banning this on blue side.
Yeah.
This should be a pick that you're happy to just first pick. Like we've seen Caps go for it, we've seen other teams go for it. This just says ShowMaker doesn't want to go towards it.
I mean, we were literally talking about this behind the scenes before the game started today about how Yone feels like it should be a perma-ban phase 1 red side in this tournament. And if you don't do that, or if you ban it yourself on blue, you're just announcing, we don't play it, we don't want it. It's not the name of the game, but that will be banned out alongside the Renekton and the Rumble that you guys talked about. Jax, Gnar, and Aurora banned out by LNG. First pick of this draft is the Vi. Remember that Weiwei picked that one up for LNG in the previous game, so DK gonna snatch it away.
And so already to me, that seems like it's going to set ShowMaker up for one of those AP, threats that people want to see from him, rather than the AD carry. So really high priority there, kind of translates into a better pick for ShowMaker, I think, as well. So we'll see what the response is here from LNG. Very quick. Interesting if you go for a Camille blind and so early. Like, Zika is just so confident. I mean, this tournament already is having an explosive start, but locking in Camille plus the Sejuani threat here is great, a great pick potential.
But this was the pick that Zika made his name on when he initially joined IG for his first year in the LPL. He was a monster threat on the side lanes. Now, this hasn't been something that he's been able to find the greatest of successes on since he's come into LNG. They've kind of moved away from split push into, hey, we want you more on the Renektons and the Kazantes and these kind of things, but this is giving a lot of trust to Zika, saying, we know you can beat Kingen, go back to your comfort and let's slam that home.
Well, also, we're talking about how it's blind, and it was fast slammed for being first pick of the draft, but when you look at the bans, it feels kind of like blind with an asterisk on it, because Jax, Gnar, Rumble, Renekton, 4 out of 6 of these first bans being used on the top lane does eliminate a lot of things that you otherwise might expect to potentially be there, but it's Ziggs and Poppy locked in for DK, expecting to see aiming back on that Ziggs here again, as Weiwei is playing the Sejuani this time. Remember that in the game number 1 draft, it was the Kai'Sa locked in as the last pick for the first half for LNG and for GALA, and they're hovering it here again.
You are playing into the hands of this Poppy a little bit, though, with the Kai'Sa lock-in, because that's now 3 dashing champions that are all potentially stopped by this steadfast presence. So I'm a little concerned, especially since you can just pop that Poppy down to the bot lane for Moham, and you should be relatively fine. Still could give it to Kingen if you want to, but yeah, I think in this position, this Poppy value is just starting to go to an all-time high.
Yeah, LNG came into today with a plan, and their plan is we're going to dive, and we're going to dive you a bunch. And they slam a bunch of it here again, with the mobility of Camille and with the ultimate of Camille, allowing them to get side lane picks, allowing them to get, opportunities for GALA to just jump on in with that Kai'Sa. looks to be very similar.
And I think that's why if you're DK, you have to start looking towards things like Orianna, the LeBlanc, these things that can facilitate a Camille that is diving in onto the back line, or try and keep multiple of these carries safe, because if not, I think you're in a pretty dire situation with the amount of access that you have for aiming and how much DK struggled to keep him safe in the last game.
So the one thing that I always look at when somebody has Camille picked up is that you can't get away from Camille's ulti, but you can get Camille away from her own ulti. That's the escape, a yeet button. That's what you can use to deal with the Camille. Poppy has a yeet button. Ziggs has a very small one.
It's smaller.
It can kind of work
Tiny button.
if she's at the edge. But there are a couple of options there with something like that. The Smolder banned away by LNG, so they want to make sure they don't have to play against that eternal stacking here again. Even though they beat it in the first game, they're also going to ban out the Tristana, and the Nautilus banned out by DK.
So are they going to also ban out like a Rell or something here? I mean, it could be a similar situation. Since LNG have red side, they have full counter pick for Scout here. So they could hide the Sylas again, and if you let the Rell through, then they pick the Rell for LNG, and then you pick, if you're trying to counter with Alistar again, then guess what? You get hit with a Sylas again for Scout. So it's a decision here, and it looks like they will let it through. So they let the Rell through, then there's a possibility of the Alistar answer, and the kind of the chain of events there is available.
I do think you just swap Poppy to bot side though, and you say, hey, we're going to play Poppy into this Rell. She's still fine. The crash then gets interrupted by the steadfast presence, and then you just end up taking something different for Kingen. So I think you still have options here. This would be one that I didn't expect though to come through.
We'll see. Well, we won't go until we see the timer run all the way out. Okay, Rell locked in. Now, I am a big believer in fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, that's my fault now. All right, if they pick the Alistar again and leave this Sylas option open, I am fully laying the fault of that at DK. We know how powerful that combo was last game. We got to see Scout play like an absolute madman.
The Ahri over here, this is something that we have seen a little bit, but I think, yeah, just going back towards an Ahri, something that can kind of set up for alongside this buy dive is going to be perfect. It does open up again, though, for Scout to go back towards the Sylas, if he really wants to. Sylas was traditionally what we saw as an answer into the Ahri, and then even the Orianna, too. So I think you've still got multiple answers here for Scout.
Yeah. All right. Not going to feed him another Alistar, most likely. Just put the Poppy bottom. And let's see, what do we got into the Camille here? Is it going to be a lock? That would be a super fun matchup. I always love Camille versus Fiora. I'll wait until it's actually locked before we get excited, though.
You always gotta wait.
That one is
ever anything is not Cassante is hovered.
It's so fun though because of the riposte and because of Camille wall jump and then trying to like put it a little bit to the side so you can still proc but then not get hit with the stun. But we don't even get to go into it because it will just be another Cassante.
All right, so what's the fun part about Cassante, Camille? Come on, hype me up. Hype me up. What do you got?
Camille wins, really.
Okay.
I mean, Camille should be advantaged. So, you know, traditionally, I think the Cassante is like a little bit rough into the Camille here as far as really good scaling for the Camille in side lanes and really good setup with a Galio here. That counter pick still used very effectively. Galio mid, by the way, has been on a recent tear with the full damage build. For solo queue, it has been massive. The rank 3 guy in Korean solo queue really got a bunch of people playing. Galio mid was really maining it with the Storm Surge. We'll see what build Scout goes for here because Galio, of course, did get the extra health ratios, so you still, you know, can go the more defensive routes, but solo queues had some really nice full damage Galios going on, and I like the look.
Man, Camille Galio, such a classic combo. Hextech ultimatum into the hero's entrance, especially when you look at both carries on the enemy team. That's a Ziggs, that's an Ahri, that's magic damage, plus a little bit more magic damage. Galio's gonna fly in there and protect Camille, and it is gonna hurt whoever is locked up in the way.
Yeah, the Ziggs little knockback doesn't work anymore. You need way more to try and deal with this. Because even if you get the Camille out, there's still a Galio coming down too. So this has suddenly become a far more potent composition, and it still does rely heavily though on the Kai'Sa damage and also then having this Camille get ahead so then she can one-shot someone in the backline, because otherwise the ability to have this long-range damage and the disengage options that you do have with the Poppy could come back to bite LNG.
Alrighty, boys, let's do it. Game number 2. DK wins this one, we get to play one more here in this series. But if LNG takes it, they are going straight to Paris from here. They will find themselves locked in for the quarterfinals at Worlds 2024. They are putting themselves in an incredible position to really, really be a threat, really be one of those squads that everybody else is kind of like, hey, we don't really want to draw these guys anymore when you head into quarters.
Yeah, especially with the versatility that they're showing, right? Like, yes, Zika has kind of been going towards these Renekton's Cassantes, but has always had these big carry picks. The Rumble has looked great for him. He's even got that counter pick Rise in his back pocket at times as well. So, and now Scout, the Tristanas, the Lucians, the Galios, the Silases, it just feels like you never know what LNG are going to bring out. And I think for a team that definitely was talked about as having these specific picks that they kind of relied on to have these big performances like Scout's Lucian, like the Yone, I think it's great to see that versatility being shown on the world stage.
Let's see what we get here as DK is doing a little bit of a late invade in the enemy jungle, sweeping out a bit of vision. Moham and Kingen are going to face check right into this brush, and they'll both lose bone plating and not a whole lot more.
Yeah, they're trying to do the little bit of delay and go in.
Okay, we are getting a scrappier 3v3 at level 1. Zika got to try to get away from that one a little bit faster. Him and Weiwei both down to half HP. Third and Tofo strike knocks the Sejuani on back, but nobody's really that close to death. Critically, you can see the big Raptor going over to Weiwei, but he didn't get the entire camp, aiming there with a 1 CS.
But even getting some there is like a bit of a steal away, you know, whenever we have the lane swaps and DK trying to go for that invade to push him off so that they would have the full topside map for Lucid, but successfully taken away a little bit there by LNG.
Okay. Hung just trying to be a nuisance here in mid lane, but does not get tackled back close enough to the turret there for the range to shoot.
I'm curious to see what happens now with the supports though, because we have seen some changes where for like Delight and stuff, he would try and match on the bottom side. You'd have King and then TP in to join him and try and play down for this bottom side, but it looks like both teams, so actually Moham kind of trying to do just that, but getting caught out by Hung, so it looks like LNG just trying to dissuade Kingen from being able to TP down and pick up this big wave.
Lucid just going to continue clearing through that enemy jungle here as Amy and Kingen have the wave about to crash into the turret. Here's your TP coming in. Weiwei, Hung, Zika, GALA, everybody's here on LNG. Moham wanting to show up and try to reinforce. He will not be able to close the distance in time, but he is close enough that no dive is going to happen. LNG backs it away.
And that's the thing, Moham did his job there. All you needed was for Kingen to get the experience and make it work. He's level 3. Now the engage though.
Yeah, Moham jumping in there after Weiwei. He is going to get stunned up. Void Seeker fired out, but Kingen wisely intercepting that one, making sure that it doesn't collide with the Poppy.
Nice little chunk there. Easy defense. DK are able to keep Kingen in full experience over here. And Zika, of course, teleporting up to the top side to grab the top side experience in the 1v1. That now, looking at the mini-map, he's actually going a little bit aggressive, tried to get in there onto aiming and actually chunked aiming Ziggs out a little bit. Meanwhile, the rest of the red side takeaway here for LNG goes according to plan, even with a bit of chunk of damage onto Weiwei. Didn't really have to divert their plan at all.
Zika does still have to be careful, although he's getting good damage on towards aiming. You can see where Lucid is on the map, because easily try and get in behind him, but sitting just above half HP, he should be fine. But at least getting a good answer on towards aiming at the moment and keeping himself in check in the lane is going to work out perfectly for him.
And they've got the timer on the respawn of these Raptors. Raptors number 2 here, so they know.
Ooh, Lucid going after Scout, forcing the flash out of him. Summoner spell for summoner spell there, but DK's happy to take it, make that Galio more vulnerable.
Yeah, LNG know that, yeah, they could come for our second Raptors, but it doesn't matter if you know. Nice little bit of damage there, gonna force Scout's flash. Pretty big here for Lucid. They, of course, invest their own flash, but trying to get pressure onto the Galio is really big. Whenever you're running Vi plus Ahri, you want to have the level 6 kill potential really be there. And with now Scout on the Galio with no flash, he will certainly be a viable target, as Zika right now is the target.
Yep, knocked back with the satchel charge. Zika trying to get away there, jumps towards his opponents with a hook shot for the extra distance, but it does not matter. First blood over to aiming on the Ziggs.
So I think Zika was expecting Lucid to try and go for the Q and was hoping to flash over, but instead he only ends up flashing into the waiting arms of Lucid and sets up for that kill.
It's so hard versus Poppy angles too, because he's like, I don't want to get too close to the wall, but then if you flash that angle, then you're getting banged into the tower, and they still got the stun, setting it up for aiming for Ziggs to get fed. Now the opposite dive.
Yeah, they want to get this dive onto Kingen if they can. doing a good job defending himself for now. Turret shots flying out, but Scalp's made his way down to the fight now too. 4v1, Kingen still level 5, nowhere close to being able to go all out, but he knocks him back, doing a beautiful job so far. Kingen, one-man army from DK, he finally falls. LNG barely stumbling out of it.
Yeah, he got a couple of them low, but he still goes down, and ShowMaker could not clean up. Even with the 2 low health members, due to the tower, he could not clean up any extra kills.
And he just there hit level 6 as well. That would have been such a big difference if it was slightly faster, but unfortunately for DK, LNG, even though they had a tough time doing it, they got it done. GALA flashes back over the wall. ShowMaker with a Spirit Rush to try to chase him down. He's all out of charges now, though. The orb flies out. ShowMaker doing a good job flashing away from the hook shot of Zika, who does not have his own ulti. The Camille still only level 5, so that's not going to be a return kill.
And now with the map state that it's in, Lucid able to move up towards this top side. He's going to get the Void Grubs. You push for aiming on towards this top tower as well. This should fall. So despite it being that top tower, it actually looks like first turret is going to go the way of DK. This is a much better early game for the LCK representative.
Yeah, aiming up here on the Ziggs, just destroying this tower. And he was also the one to get the last hit onto the kill for the first blood that they got on Zika. So it's going to be a very, very dangerous Ziggs very early on into this game.
Yeah, there you go. Turret down. Ziggs doing what Ziggs does, and Kingen now goes all out here with a K'Sante chasing after Hung. But he can just join up with the rest of his team up here in this bottom side river. Weiwei still working on the Drake. They're level 4, they're half HP for the support and jungler of LNG, so they got to be a little bit careful here, even though they have a massive numbers advantage. They catch King, and he went way too close. What in the hell are we doing, King? And that was not the right choice. LNG getting a punish, and now the fight might just continue. Lucid wants to try to get away back over the wall. The ball breaker ain't gonna work. DK just throwing their men into a blender.
Is that Dragon Pit the Mabruta triangle? Like, they're all getting lost in there. What in the heck are they doing, Flowers? That's 2 free kills.
I'm so confused. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Kingen's getting some nice damage down. They're just making it awkward for them, and like, Hung will have to reset, so then you can play it on the map. And then he just kind of keeps going, and I'm looking at the mini-map. I'm like, Vi's not there, Poppy's not there. Lads, this is 2v4. Like, this is not where you want to try and take this fight. And sure, they get the damage on Hung, but this is such an overextension.
Yeah, you can tell. The call is try and delay them. Hey, we're on the way. We want to try and punish them. We want to catch them. But then not only does our K'Sante die, but then Lucid dies for a control ward inside the Dragon Pit. The Dragon Pit where the dragon had already been taken, nonetheless. So 2 free ones there. I mean, LNG are very happy to get that extra money because DK had been building such a good advantage in this early game. Their Ziggs game plan was going full steam ahead. He already got his Ludens so much money with the isolated tower gold plus the first blood money. It had been going so incredibly well for DK, and you might look back at those couple of kills that you gave away really early on into the game and really, really regret those. We'll see, though, if you know, LNG are able to get their dive game plan going. We now have our level 6s for both the Galio as well as the Camille, so our possibilities of the traps, that kind of goated combo that you look for, is going to be operational.
Man, that was not what DK needed. They were 3 grubs ahead. I mean, technically they still are 3 grubs ahead. It just doesn't feel as good after the blunder there in the Drake Pit. 9.5 minutes into the game. Second set of grubs spawns in 60 seconds.
And I would say your game plan of the Fed Ziggs is still going really nicely. Already rotated him into mid lane here. Can easily destroy these minion waves, keep up the early push, allow you then to set up your play as the Rift Herald is about to spawn, push mid wave, get everybody over there. Top tower's already dead. They already pushed out top wave. So you, even though things like this happen, you have to get right back into focusing on the next step.
And I think the fact that you've got this setup for aiming in fights is perfect as well, because Lucid, the immediate follow-up with that ultimate. That's why we often saw the Ziggs paired with things like Nautilus support, because it just gives them the fire at will on this specific spot and you will murder someone. So I think for DK, the likes of being able to lock down GALA, potentially even just take Zika out of a fight, makes these upcoming scraps significantly easier. So LNG need to pull off some kind of magic to make these next few fights go in their favor.
Yeah, and they should be able to set up nicely for that second pack of grubs that we're looking towards. They get the recall off for Ziggs as well, so gets another purchase. And looking at the 6 stack of grubs would be very nice for them, even though their bottom tower here is very close to going down, and 3 members of LNG are coming to try and make sure of that.
Yep, we got another teleport coming in to try to turn this into a very one-sided fight. It's another bad experience for Kingen around the bottom lane. 0-3 and 0 on Kai'Sa in this game.
I think that's a great call from LNG, because they're like, fine, you can have the next pack of grubs off of your push on top side, off of your push in mid lane, but we're going to know that you're taking those grubs and make a play on the other side of the map.
I think it's always one of the most critical skills in League of Legends that really separates the top teams. Hold on now, another one of those skills is a dive when you can find it. Beautifully done from DK, but a nice interruption as LNG want to get that counterattack now on Lucid, who tries to escape off to the right, but it's not going to do a whole lot. You would have to think. Lucid still staying alive for now, still trying to get himself back away. One more punch from Scout's going to get it done as Hung gets slammed back into the wall there by the Poppy, but a DP's coming in. There's your Glacial Prison. There's a double kill back over to Scout. There's Zika making his way into the fight as Kingen goes unstoppable with his reinforcement, but the fight's already finally done. LNG fighting back after GALA got dove.
It looked so good for DK. That was the combo that we were just talking about, where you can annihilate GALA, but just end up going that little bit too far forward. Lucid gets caught, and every member of LNG comes out of the woodwork to try and turn that one around.
I was about to say, before that happened, one of the most critical skills of being a good team is knowing when to just let something go and take something else instead. But LNG was not willing to let GALA go unavenged, and they hit right back.
Even with the scrappiness of this game, even with the chaos that does bloom out of this game, you still have the one constant, and that is the Ziggs taking towers.
Yes, sir.
Aiming got right back to duty. Aiming is the one staying focused here for DK. As usual, you know, he is going to be the real consistent damage for them as it gets later.
Scout immediately greeting ShowMaker with some damage as he teleports in.
I was going to say, the tank Galio doesn't really hit as hard as you kind of hope for when they're teaming in, though. It's kind of like, oh, you take none of my health, but I also take none of yours, so good day, sir. We'll back away, but they will back away towards this dragon, which is working out well for them. Yep. And Zika now trying to see if he can just put some pressure on towards Moham, but he cannot defend this top tower by himself, but the wave isn't quite in position.
So last game, where we had more of an even spread of the neutral objectives, Grubs didn't all get 6-0. The first 2 Drakes went 1-1. This time around, it's all Grubs over to DK, both Drakes over to LNG. The Soul this time is more valuable as well, being a Mountain Soul, particularly against a Ziggs who's going to be spamming out that poke. Having the extra shield to just resist some of that consistent long-range damage could go a long way. So I'll be very interested in tracking and noticing how DK is going to respond to the future Dragon attempts that come out from LNG, especially considering how effective Ziggs can be at those neutral standoffs.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, though, you still have a Ziggs with 6 grub buff, right? So you have to be so careful here as LNG about how you set up, because the second Ziggs goes on to a turret, that turret's gone. And I think at the moment they're doing a decent job of moving Scout into positions where he is kind of being the defensive side laner, where you have Zika being the offensive side laner, and having people like Weiwei and Hung play towards him. As long as they can keep that and you can continue to clear these waves, they should be fine. But one misstep and DK can rip so much gold off the map.
Yeah, especially because so much of their gold is from turret plates and turrets themselves that the Ziggs has been able to get for DK. So we'll see about the setup now as everybody heading over towards top river. So I feel like we might get a nice little scrap here.
Yes, sir. Rift Herald has spawned. LNG with a 5-man play going in. They find the Glacial Prison, but it's only on to Moham. How much do they want to commit to this? Looks like the whole kitchen sink. Should be a 1-for-1, though. Hung barely getting away. ShowMaker finally going to finish him, but Lucid's going to drop next. 3v4. Aiming is still alive. Kingen trying to cut off Zika. Hero's entrance looking to back up that top laner as Kingen is once again in a bad spot. He has to flash to try to escape, but it's Scout back over the wall. LNG doing a beautiful job as the fist of Scout finds the forehead of aiming. And that one is going to be a clean fight for LNG.
The Galio punches are very satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
There. That was actually beautiful kind of dissection of the fight from LNG. They cut off both members here, as you see Galio ultimate used up to the top side and then jumping right back over the wall.
Yeah, and it was just a great setup because you see the steadfast presence go down, which means that Zika is just waiting for the follow-up there, threatening Lucid so Lucid can't go in. Once Lucid does, the immediate ult from the Camille means that he can't really threaten on towards the back line. And then Kobe, as you just highlighted, the split up here. GALA staying away from the wall so Kingen can't really get him into position. Weiwei getting that knock up. You've got Scout who's peeled now for ShowMaker and happy to take the brunt of that damage thanks to having that Hollow Radiance and the MR from that alongside flashing over the wall to finish off aiming. Beautiful stuff from LNG.
Yeah, I love it. You know, Scout, he protects the top side with his ultimate, then he flashes over to get the taunt and combo on the big threat of DK and finally allow them to take down aiming. And like Scout has just been so good for this team. You can see why they really wanted him here. Why GALA himself even spent his own personal money along with some of his old teammates to really help Scout get here. And he's paying them back in gameplay.
He's paying them back in gameplay, and we're paying them back in gold as well. We were talking about aiming being the win condition, aiming being up 1,500 gold. Look at the bottom of your screen right now. That blue number says 136. The lead for the Ziggs has evaporated compared to GALA, who on this Kai'Sa, we saw it in game number 1. This dude can tear through the enemy team. The build, not the same as what we saw in the previous game, going for the Kraken Slayer this time, working towards that Rage Blade here yet again. But once he gets online, when you've got this Galio and this Camille working with you, chugga, 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 chugga. That's the dive train, and it's leaving the station.
But this is the champion GALA made his name on. This is the pick that he was associated with for so long. The ability to have these big playmaking moments, understand exactly when he needs to go in with the killer instinct, and even picking up numerous pentakills on the champion. So it's kind of been comfort for him over the course of this series, and he's getting to show back why he's so feared both domestically and internationally for his Kai'Sa play.
Okay, so let me ask you guys. This game, early on, started off way better for DK than the first game did, and then just fumbling the ball over and over and over again, getting outplayed by LNG. How do they stabilize this and try to take themselves to a game 3?
I do think a huge amount of it has to be a combo between Lucid and aiming. Just try and delete GALA off the map, and then you can deal with Zika by himself, which is the amount of CC you have, because the build that Scout's going, he has the Hollow Radiance already, he is tanky, but the damage behind that profile isn't quite there yet. So as long as you can deal with one threat in GALA, it becomes significantly easier to deal with the other threat, which is Zika.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's either like Lucid and aiming ults coming over, or Lucid and ShowMaker, you know, dashing in to make use of that pick. But it really does come down to that Vi ultimate being your biggest tool in actually forcing some picks in your favor. And you really need to leverage those very early on so that LNG don't get to set up their combo.
But the problem is you've got Scout on the Galio, right? So even trying to get that moment may cost you your lives, but it may be a sacrifice DK have to be willing to make as Third Dragon started. DK, a lot of respect here.
LNG with total control over the bottom side river, and one of the reasons why they have it is because they dropped the Rift Herald back in mid lane as a distraction that needs to be answered by DK here at the same time. ShowMaker's going to step up, but the Mountain Drake is already secured by Weiwei here on the Sejuani. LNG now at soul point, 3 Drakes to nothing.
And when you're running a team like this that is based on picking people off and all in sending that dive, it is really, really, really beneficial to be able to have the threat of Dragon Soul to draw the enemy team out into the open areas of the map, and then you jump on them with all of your engage.
And I want to go back to what you guys were talking about as your answers to the last question. How does DK win? How do they stabilize? The common denominator in those answers was Lucid needs to find a good ulti on a value target, and we're talking about a guy who's a rookie. We're talking about a guy who, when we heard heard back from the desk at the top of the day, he has some of those moments where he goes in too hard, or he has like, you know, that young player, like lack of experience type of decision making that can show up in some of these high pressure situations. So the way I'm looking at it from here, the pressure is on for this young jungler from DK to show that he's got what it takes to find those angles and find a moment that might be able to still save him in this series.
If we remember last night when his Vi goes really deep in onto the Ashe there with the ultimate and gets kind of taken off for a ride all the way into enemy team. You know, they still win the game and everything, but yeah, those are the ones where you go a little bit more far than you kind of bargained for. But it's critical to also like pull this play off in transition, you know, so that LNG don't get to use their full combination of a team. And right now, LNG are actually splitting them across. They're going to be able to have bot side push with Zika. His flash and his teleport are both ready on the Camille, so he gets bot lane push first while the rest of the team is able to transition down from mid lane to secure jungle.
Trying to go into Moham, not quite able to get him, but LNG is a team that has struggled when it comes towards actually playing out a map state in a 1-3-1 or these kind of split push scenarios. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on how they start to play this one out, at least getting these early objectives. They have been playing relatively well on Scout, kind of hovering to create a lot of that pressure, but you still need to see these turrets really start to fall.
And in watching LNG with a lot of the LPL teams, I feel like LNG is very good and methodical when they've got these nice leads and they've got everything that they need set up. They're the ones with their nice gold lead already. They already have control over this entire bot side jungle leading up to Dragon. It's important that you get those wards out early, so it makes it easier as the Dragon gets closer and closer to set up the next ones. And they're even teleporting down there.
But this is the play that I was going to say that traditionally LNG fell back onto when they had these split pushes, which is overloading these lanes with Scout and Zika, and then using Zika as a TP back to try and play off elsewhere. But DK have read this.
Yeah, ShowMaker and Lucid both around here. Mega Inferno Bomb used to just clear the wave. Scout's Justice Punch gets interrupted, so then he has to flash to try to escape, but a nice charm from ShowMaker to lock him up, and LNG is going to get punished immediately. The Vile to stop the hero's exit. Beautifully done there to ruin the game plan of their opponents. DK showing that they're still paying attention here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, great read from DK. This is kind of a set play that LNG have used a couple of times. Zika just hops over the wall where they will try and just overload one side lane where they have these TP advantages to make some sort of magic happen. And you've always got Scout who can use his ultimate to get back alongside Zika with the TP, but DK were aware of it. They already had Lucid moving into position as that wave was about to crash, and it's a great turnaround for DK.
It's a huge moment. Our eyeballs were just all on Lucid and him being able to use Vi ultimate to lock somebody down, and they have ShowMaker there, and they make the play. So very nicely done for them. Nice little punish, but it doesn't completely change the direction of the game because all of the setup work that LNG had done is still pretty much true. They still have their deep wards in the jungle leading up towards the Dragon, so they can still set up nicely here as it's now only 1 minute away, and this is going to be a very early soul fight.
The big thing that I'm looking at here is Scout not only died, but he did lose both summoner spells, the TP committing to be there as well as the flash trying to escape, so neither one of those tools will be available for this upcoming soul fight, and if LNG ends up getting forced off, or even if they decide to fight forward and they lose by a small margin, that could be a big difference maker.
I think this is where we will see LNG just go for tower takes though. They're having an awful time breaking these turrets because Aiming just sits in mid, clears out the waves all day. ShowMaker's been doing a very similar job matching wherever Zika's trying to put pressure on the map. So in this situation, I wouldn't be surprised to see them look for the reset, lean in towards this top lane, and just try and take turrets over anything else right now.
Drake 15 seconds away. A little bit of vision from both sides here in the bot side river. Aiming just continuing to force these waves down. So easy to do it with the Ziggs. Vision in the pit from LNG though, with this Drake about to spawn in less than 5 seconds now. Moham and Hung fighting back and forth for the vision control in the brushes around the area. Both teams know how important that control is going to be as DK brings everybody down.
Yeah, both Zika and Kingen do have their teleports ready. Zika's going to be able to push the wave first there on top side as Dragon gets leashed out. Good job taking control of that little curved bush in the river, by the way. This one they're fighting over right now. Weiwei clears it out again himself. That one is so critical for these fights around Dragon. So retaken vision control now by LNG in this bush.
Kingen keeps trying to reset. I'm not sure if he's come close to that item completion, so may want to try and get that in just so he can come in with the TP, but LNG giving up a lot of space here to DK.
I think the fight on top lane is actually really important too, to be able to see where that goes, since it is actually 2 items for Zika. Slight advantage here over Kingen, who hasn't been able to complete. And he's trying to make it work. He does get his teleport off, so LNG, they want this soul. They're going to send everybody.
Zika here first. LNG with control over the pit. They're going to pour some DPS into the objective. DK still got to be careful about their approach, but they're going to be a little bit too little, too late. Mega Inferno Bomb over the top as they want to try to get their jungler in there, but instead the counterattack coming out from LNG. The Drake is going to be secured. That is Mountain Soul over to the LPL squad, as now they're going to take the full fight, but they got to be careful. Zika here on the front line going to be taken low, but he barely survived thanks to Steric's Gauge. Now the Wombo combo. The damage back over onto Kingen's going to be good. LNG still chasing, but Weiwei is at death's door. Aiming takes him down, and Hung is going to be stopped. LNG still scrambling to fight. A double kill back over to Aiming. Make it a triple for the Ziggs. Scout about to fall, and the Void Seeker won't get one back. It's soul of an LNG. It's fight for DK.
And Baron is up. They can go. Did Aiming just save the game? It was also an amazing ultimate from Kingen. He was actually able to Cassante ult away from the Camille Galio combo, and now they can go for the Baron response.
GALA low, won't be able to get into this. DK, yes, they gave soul, but they might be able to get Baron and take so much more on the map. And again, this is such a crucial component to LNG, actually being able to take these towers because of these double AP mages that are just buffering through these waves.
I want to see the fight again. GALA here, though, is going to try and fight them off the Baron. They're still rushing it down. It's only 3,000 health.
2,000 health, 1,000 health secured by Lucid and DK. LNG, they wanted to try to get something back. They even used Scout's TP. That is now back-to-back TPs from Scout that have been completely ineffective. Hung wants to try to stop some backs, maybe desync them, but it's not even going to work.
I really want to see this fight again, because I believe Kingen, Cassante ults Camille out of his own ultimate so that nobody was locked into the Galio combo. We'll take another look, because it starts out so nicely for LNG. They force them off the dragon, they take the dragon, then they Camille Galio ult here, and then it is Kingen takes him out so that Lucid's able to escape as well, and nobody gets caught in the combination. The re-engage then, sacrificing his life there as Kingen goes in to get the knockback, and they get so much damage out of this Ziggs. Chunking Weiwei so low, Aiming can flash forward, and he also gets the knock onto Hung to make sure he can get that double kill.
All right, back to live. Engage from Lucid, going in, tries to find the slam on Weiwei. The Sejuani not anywhere tanky enough to survive this, and DK with momentum barreling down the bottom lane.
They saw Zika in this top side, so they immediately go for the pick. They get it, and the reset now from Kingen to defend this top turret as well. DK getting a lot of value out of this Baron buff and outplaying on the map right now.
This is such an exciting one. Oh my goodness, the comeback possibilities here for DK. So much gold injected into this team off of that fight.
DK coming back from the precipice of another really bad game state, and they are now over 4,000 gold ahead. The Ziggs war machine is absolutely pumping damage into these structures. 5 turrets to 2 favoring DK. Dragons are not necessary. They've got everything else in their control right now.
DK is always so fun to watch. So much damage coming out here from Aiming. Him still remaining consistent for this team. Now, you know, he's even over the 2,000 gold lead, but we also have gold leads for Lucid, for ShowMaker, you know, big capabilities here, and ShowMaker also picking up his arm guard, so big possible plays out of this Ahri.
Yep.
He's got a 2-level lead over Scout's Galio to boot. Really want to see this pushed to a final and deciding game, but LNG, of course, are going to be able to still wield the power of the soul that they got.
But I think the double Zanya starting to be completed for both Aiming and ShowMaker just nullifies so much what LNG want to do. We know the combo well. Zika goes in, Scout ults, try and pick someone off, but when your main targets are just able to go invulnerable for the entire duration of that, it makes things significantly easier to defend. So LNG, I think their window of opportunity is starting to close in this game unless they get creative, which looks like they might be on towards ShowMaker now.
Thing is for LNG as well, the difference between this game and the last game, look at GALA. last time around, he was going with the very heavy AP build, right? We saw the death cap, we saw the magic penetration, we saw Nashor's Tooth, all these things. This time around, it's much more of a fighting, shooting DPS dive build. If you're not diving, you're not really doing anything on LNG's side. And if DK continues building their lead, the dive gets tougher and tougher. Moham, very, very low, but he still stays alive. Critically, Kingen trying to also continue the retreat. LNG keeps the chase alive. Scout doing a great job, locking up the enemy K'Sante. Zika's already killed off Moham, but meanwhile, back in the jungle, it's GALA under pressure. Huge damage coming in. GALA is saved somehow by the hero's entrance, plus the shielding. The Kai'Sa stands tall.
The locket from Weiwei barely keeps GALA alive as that last punch comes in from Lucid, and it just means it's a pick. LNG saw the TP from ShowMaker on towards mid lane and saw their chance to bite back against DK.
What a game. What a series, man. This is awesome.
What a world. This entire event has been sick so far.
Kobe, we flew out at the right time, dude. This is a
jet
good
lag.
series.
You waking out, lads? You feeling it?
Yeah. Got off the plane just in time, baby.
Feeling good. Feeling good.
That's kind of why I want to see another one, another game of this. But LNG, of course, don't want that. They want the express route into the next stage of Worlds here. They want to be able to finish out this game. And of course, the power of a Mountain Soul is so big in these all-in fights where they just get the full commitment. They can make use of this full shields, and they have had, you know, lightning quick engages here. So we'll take a look at the combinations. You have to, of course, always keep checking back in on the flashes, and most of them have their flashes back and available. It's just, of course, Scout Galio not going to have his ready.
Well, we had a very early Dragon Soul this game, the earliest possible one you could get 4-0, but that also means early Elders. This buff so often ends the game, and right now, bottom river control belongs to DK. LNG just trying to get their waves pushed up, trying to be careful on their approach here. They still have the Scuttle Crab vision in the bot side river, but everything else is DK's.
Looks like side lane push acquired here by Zika. Level 16, now 17 on the Camille as the rest of the team comes to hover.
That Ziggs so huge here for DK. Zika jumps in for the immediate stun on Kingen, but the K'Sante can't really be the target. It can't be the focus for LNG if they want to have a good fight here as DK groups up and exits back towards mid.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure that Scout can't come in behind them with a big taunt. Zika trying to wrap around, completely out of vision. Lucid trying to mark him and spot him out. We'll just see him here now.
Okay. They've got eyes on Zika, but now the fight's gonna start off. Lucid wanted to go in, but it ain't gonna work out here quite yet. Aiming forced into the stasis here immediately, but a massive engage coming up from Hung. He locks everybody up, but where's the follow-up? Kingen's gonna die. GALA takes him out. DK trying to get themselves away. Zika still barely alive here at about 25% HP back into the Drake pit. Lucid over the wall, still thinking about maybe trying to fight for it. Moham at 1/3 HP, aiming. He needs to recall, reset, rejoin the fight here with a teleport. The Dragon at 6,000 as Hung again still looking for an angle. There's your taunt coming out from Scout. Zika back over the wall and Lucid is down. The charm on GALA will finish him off, but ShowMaker dies to Scout here as well. Aiming in Moham trying to get themselves back away as Weiwei will be left alone here with the Elder Dragon. Hung still chasing, and Elder execute would be almost immediate here on the Moham. He's about to take the damage. The winds of war are blowing, and they will burn down the house of DK. Aiming, the last man standing. He's kiting them all the way through the jungle. They got to be careful about this one. The Ziggs is so damn hard to kill, but they've got so many more men. Weiwei still coming back around from the side. The Elder Dragon Sejuani trying to cut him off. Aiming with a beautiful Mega Inferno Bomb to take out the enemy support, but he pays with it with his life. And LNG get a delayed ace plus Elder.
It's aiming versus the world against the dragoned up LNG, but he just can't do it, and he can't get it done here either. The LNG play out this fight so incredibly well, picking off Lucid, immediately turning on towards ShowMaker. Zika buying so much space on the top side alongside Hung, and the eventual turnaround to pick off the members of DK.
And that fight is only the second wraparound after they had already got the first kill. And the first fight, they actually, even though they see the Camille coming, there's nothing you can do about it. The Camille ult breaks the Vi ultimate, and they still got their engage. Great follow-up from Hung in the last
just a
one.
Great guess
But
by Amy.
goes down there to the big Ziggs bomb.
All right, back to live. LNG going after Baron. And there is no contest on that one. All right, LNG have Elder for another 60 seconds, Baron for 3 minutes. They want to try to force a fight if they can while the super buffs are active.
I think they just get to set up their waves how they want. You can already see Zika pushing in that top side. The wave was controlled by ShowMaker on the bottom end, but a potential play from LNG is always on the cards. Zika going to reset. I think he's looking for a TP back in onto the play, having finished off a GA. There those, and now going to come back in immediately onto the top side turret.
Yeah, keep your eyes on aiming. The whole game is
Camille's
about
already
aiming.
in. Camille's on the tower. Camille's still leading the tower.
He needed one more hit. I don't think he's going to find it. Hook shot to escape in time. Glacial Prison over the wall to block any sort of a chase that DK would have wanted to execute on, as GALA, now with a space created by Zika in the top lane, can secure the kill in the tier 2 back over in mid. Tier 3 turret in top, still just barely standing as the push, the onslaught from LNG continues.
And you just, that top tower is gone. The next minion wave, Zika just walks up, hits it, hook shots away, and is gone with the gold and to boot, and DK trying heavily to pressure onto the wave state, but LNG, they're there.
Zika's still your target, but he's staying alive for now. The TP coming in. Zika with the Hextech ultimatum, trying to take out the K'Sante. All Out's not going to bring him out of the ultimatum, but he still has to retreat because of the damage pouring in as Moham leads the charge. Weiwei's still going to keep disengaging. Zika, very low, no teleport to rejoin the fight. He's going to have to reset.
The charm from ShowMaker was clutch there because it drew Zika in behind K'Sante, so Kingen could actually ult through him and get to the edge and away from LNG. So nice job there by ShowMaker, but still, DK, they hold on. You've still got at least 2 more waves that you can play off here as DK or as LNG, but the base still stands for the moment.
Yeah, LNG, of course, they're so short range. It is hard for them to take down the final defenses of the inhibitor tower, so they really do have to rely on their split push, even with the Baron buff. Camille almost finishes off that tower, though, so the topside tower, extremely low, extremely close to going down. Of course, that teamfight damage does tell the story that we already know from the side of DK, where aiming was pumping out damage, trying to do as much as it can, but LNG, of course, still with their Dragon Soul, with all the extra gold that they've now gotten too, try to come and finish off the other side of the map.
Oh, Moham finds himself in a bad spot. He's down. Zika seeing the angle to block his escape. Now a 5v4 for LNG. Glacial Prison onto Kingen yet again. The 0-6 K'Sante has had such a struggle here in this second game as LNG, their Baron is about to expire. They want to try to get all the value that they can. Rotating back over to the mid lane now as the wave is also about to crash. Mega Inferno Bomb with very little value. Mid lane inhibitor will be the first one to fall on DK's side as LNG maintain their 5v4 advantage for the next 10 seconds. There's nothing more to claim here in the base. They're going to retreat for now. Still hanging around though, seeing if maybe DK gets a little bit too greedy on the chase, but it will not happen.
A minute and a half until Elder's Dragon though, so we may just have to rinse and repeat. The fact that DK held on to that top tower though is crucial because no super minions away from that side of the map is going to work out great, but Kingen Zika realizing that wants to move up towards this top side, I think, put pressure there so that then he can encourage more members of DK to try and defend away from the Elder Dragon.
It's just really good movements from LNG. To be able to take over jungle, make it so dangerous, get their pick off, then rotate from bottom lane up towards mid, another bunch of chunks. Like, it just seems so hard at this point for DK to retake control, and with another Elder coming up and your mid inhibitor down once again, it is going to be that very dangerous situation where you're going into an LNG vision controlled territory where they also have the big gold advantage that they've retaken in this game.
Yeah.
And they, again, just have so many tools to force the fight on you when you come to face check. Similar to their full dive in the previous game, it is on LNG now to just finish this one out with one more big fight.
I thought LNG would leave Zika on top side because he doesn't have enough gold to buy another item and they could just continue to put pressure there, but now drawing him down onto this bottom side, it will mean that he has a good flank opportunity for this potential Elder Drake, especially with the waves he's now pushed down, and there's little vision there. So ShowMaker now moving in behind the pit. I imagine it'll be ShowMaker trying to mark Zika as he moves in here.
Big items to look for. Guardian Angels on both Zika and GALA. They both have that second life, but you've got the double stasis for the carries on DK at the same time. Zika still at a pincer angle here, not on top of the ward, as the Drake Started up, aggroed a little bit here by LNG, but no real DPS put into it from either side. DK still attempting to approach here on this river angle, but now you got a TP coming in as Zika just bought his Death's Dance. It is full build Camille going into the second Elder Drake fight of the game. GALA taking the poke though from aiming as ShowMaker's forced into the stasis. He's got to try to get himself back away. Zika into the back line, but he's already isolated. He's going to be knocked down. Surely though, right? Hero's entrance ain't quite going to find the way that it's looking for. Zika into the back line, aiming, trying to get away. They need to lock him up, beat him down. Weiwei finds the kill on aiming, and DK is looking like a graveyard right now. LNG barreling down mid lane. Game 2 was closer. DK was stronger, but LNG still are better. Kingen jumps into the middle of everybody, but it ain't gonna do a damn thing. ShowMaker gets shown just who's the better team here. And LNG are the first team going to quarterfinals in Worlds 2024.
Zika is just too rich, man. Over a 6,000 gold lead individually. The full build Camille with the Guardian Angel to go in and just force the last fight.
What a showing from LNG. Let's toss it back over to the analysts.
Thank you so much. It's LNG that booked their tickets to the quarterfinal in dominating fashion after Dplus KIA did get something done, even though we absolutely hated their draft. I speak for everyone here. LNG simply just better.
Yeah, I mean, the matchup between Dplus KIA and their own drafts was really historic here.
It's so frustrating.
The drafts came out on top, but Dplus KIA did play the best game they could.
They tried their hardest.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to just sit here and talk only about the draft, but the part that kind of adds insult to injury is that DK had so many
really well.
good fights.
Yeah.
So many good fights where if there was just, I don't know, just a sliver of physical damage.
Just a crumb of physical damage.
Just one
please.
crumb, sir, please. They managed to stop a Camille with a 6K individual gold lead
Like
from
8
doing
times.
anything in a team fight for like 10 seconds. If you have any damage at all, you win that fight.
You miss ShowMaker on smaller now, don't you?
Yeah.
I do. The turns have tabled. Bring it back.
Turns have definitely tabled. Wow. Super interesting game overall. The Galio came out as well. I want to reference Raz and his tweet because someone was asked, like, what about Galio? Like, what's going on? And he said, well, it kind of symbolizes what happened for LNG because Scout, he couldn't come, then everyone banded together for him, then he made it, and he landed in glorious fashion.
Heroic
here
entrance,
on
baby,
yes,
right
heroic
there,
entrance.
just in time to
Yeah.
build
That was-
MR and win the game.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, you could see it there, right? Dplus tried their hardest, but they could not kill him or anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Oppo Player Series is going to be GALA. He was smurfing in this game. You know, yes, it was the team in front of him creating so much space because they are so incredibly tanky. But GALA really was playing out the team fights well. I do think, you know, in the second game, he could have maybe made his life a little bit easier for himself if he did a similar build to what he did in the first game where he went more heavy AP and had that additional range. Yeah. I do think that caused some of the troubles because I did feel like on the other side, we were seeing DK do a good job zoning GALA out of some of these fights, but overall, he played incredibly well.
There's an awesome interview on Cheap Esports from Armand with GALA as well, where he talks about Kai'Sa is his favorite champion, right? Is his signature pick, so he's happy to play
LPL
it.
Kai'Sa, man.
Absolutely, and where he's talking about how he's really hungry for international success because that MSI title was, of course, 2 years ago already, and they're a cohesive unit, and I think some of these fights really showed it for LNG.
They absolutely did, right? I think overall their confidence was good. You could see them fumble a little bit when the range advantage and the kind of the peel tools were there, but overall, fantastic game.
Indeed, and Weiwei is standing by with Lore in the Verizon post-game interview for LNG's victory.
LNG is the first team advancing to quarterfinals, and I have Weiwei and Christina with me for this interview. Congratulations on making it to quarterfinals, Weiwei. I want to talk about a video that Dplus KIA published yesterday on their social media, laughing and being really, really happy that they drew you. How did you react to that if you saw the video?
恭喜你们在这局的 BO3 当中成功的战胜了对手，晋级到了8强。第一个问题想问到的是，在昨天的抽签环节结束之后呢 ，DK 他们在社交媒体上发布了他们对于抽到 LNG 的一个反应和表现。想问一下微微有没有看到过那个视频，以及是你们在抽到 DK 之后是什么样的感受？
就看过他们那个挺开心的那个视频吧，然后抽到他们的话就，也挺开心的吧。
Yeah, actually, I saw the video they published. I saw they were so happy to be able to draw against us, but we had the same feeling.
Oh, really? But did you think you were gonna dominate them that convincingly? 2-0 was really crushing.
那昨天在看到那个抽签的时候，有没有预测到你们今天能够以2-0的表现，非常稳健的击败他们呢？
就感觉就是，就抽到就感觉已经要去别的地方了。
So when I saw the draw show, I felt like we're going to go to the next city.
All right, convincing victory here, and I love the confidence. I want to follow up on an interview that GALA did with Armand-Luc from Sheep Esports, saying that it is really important that you 5 are here competing together and how happy you are playing together. Can you tell me more about the relationship you have with your teammates?
那在此前呢 ，GALA 在接受一个外媒的采访的时候提到了，他非常开心你们 LNG 的这5个人能够一起来到参加到全球总决赛。那想问一下微微，你是怎么样看待这次你们5个人可以一起出征，然后是怎么样看待你们队伍之间一个协作啊这样的关系的呢？
就能5个人一起打比赛，就感觉就非常好吧。然后，我们5个人的就配合什么就理解也是越来越好。
I feel like I was very happy to be able to get Weiwei players here participating in the Worlds 2024. And also, I think we have a better team synergy and also the understanding to the game.
Absolutely, and really performing well so far at Worlds, which goes against the expectations that people had for you and LNG Weiwei. So, did you feel like you have something to prove coming at Worlds this year?
那在来到这次全球总决赛的时候，可能人们没有对 LNG 有过这么高的期待。那想问一下微微选手，你觉得自己和队伍的表现现在怎么样？有没有说什么想要在这一届全球总决赛的舞台上证明的呢？
就感觉不被人看好的，就感觉就挺好的。
I feel pretty good that we are underestimated by the others.
All right, because coming back at Worlds as the runner-up from Worlds Finals last year, you're the first team to make it to quarterfinals. What is your resolution for this Worlds?
那微微选手是作为去年全球总决赛的亚军，现在呢，你们 LNG 又是第一支成功晋级到8强的队伍。想问一下，你对于这次总决赛的决心是什么呢？
就希望比去年成绩好吧。
I hope I can have the better results than the last year's Worlds.
A lot of expectations here on your side. Weiwei, thank you so much for the interview. 谢谢. Christina, thank you so much for the translation as well. That's all for us here on this side of the stage. We'll be right back for the LCK Summer Finals rematch. Weiwei Esports versus Genji.
I think the most likely person to flash forward would probably be me, because I could get overexcited in fights, and I might flash forward for like a montage play.
탑라이너들은 기본적으로 플래시를 딜교할 때도 쓰는 경우도 있기 때문에 포지션 특성상 어쩔 수 없지 않나. 그래서 저를 뽑았습니다.
Red Bull gives you wings.
And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good, good.